Hi guys, thank you for meeting with me today. In about 2 hours, we're going to be making a presentation to our board. So thank you for jumping in with me so that we can go over this data and complete this deck together so that we can be ready to present it to our board. Please take notes and be prepared to go through your personal data to help me to complete this deck so that we can make sure that we can complete a complete picture of our campuses to our district partners so that the board can understand exactly what's going on with our students. Our goal is to serve students to the best of our ability, and we want to be able to share our information in a way that allows the board to understand exactly what's going on at the campus level. I cannot do that alone. I need the specific stories, the whys, as I share the positives and we look at some ways that we can continue to improve and grow. So please help me today, write down the notes and be ready to research. All right, so as we present this deck, and I have started it, but we're going to build on what I already have here. We're going to talk through our enrollment numbers, our withdrawals, and our academic progress. We want to be able to wrap this up and think about our audience, because remember, it is all about our audience. So as we get this ready to present to our board, we want to make sure that we have it in a way where they can understand exactly where we are and where we're going. So we're going to go through this data and we want to make it in bite-sized chunks and we want to make it very understandable because we know we see so many charts and graphs all day long, but they want to know more than just the charts and graphs. They want to see the students behind the data and the whys behind the charts and graphs. So let's make sure that in everything that we're doing, we know our audience and then we present this in a way that makes sense and that we have the stories to go with it because we do a lot of processes, a lot of procedures, and we want to make this very obtainable so that they can see what we're doing and see where we're going. Remember, everything we do will be based on data because without it, it is just an opinion. And you know that that is our motto. You know that we don't do anything without those pieces of information, but please make sure that you're thinking about that and supporting any of the suggestions you come to the table with. We're going to start by looking at our current year-over-year metrics for withdrawals. We've seen that over the last 2 years, we have decreased our withdrawals. This is really important. As we look at our pulse checks, we can see that our student satisfaction has correlated with this increase in retention. And so we're going to dig in and see the whys behind this, but also what we can do to improve and increase continually the students that we're retaining. So we see that as we start to dig into this, we have had an increase in our enrollment this year, which we're super excited about. We have 403 more students this year than what we had last year. And we've decreased our withdrawal rates by 2.7% year over year. We want to increase the trend of decreasing our withdrawals. We've seen that our middle school has had the largest increase in population. That's caused a little bit of growing pains, and we need to dig into the whys behind why those students might be withdrawing at larger numbers. We've also seen that our SPED students in this area are a little bit happier. So we know that some of the things that we've done to increase our supports with SPEDs, put all of those under one principal, those kind of things are working. So we're really excited about that because we need to make sure that our SPED population is well supported. And we want to see growth on our MAP scores and our STAR scores. And so doing that for every student is important, but we are paying special attention to the special education students. While we're increasing our enrollment, we have to grow big but feel smaller at every campus level. So I need you to dig into what is the enrollment to each grade and what is the withdrawal rate and what is the differences for some of the withdrawals in those specific grade levels. We're seeing specifically that like 6th and 8th grade have a lot of high withdrawals. So we're also seeing, is there an issue with like the student to teacher ratio there? I'd like you to tell me exactly what the student to teacher ratio is and what extra supports we're giving in the onboarding process. So we know that during onboarding, we need to probably make some adjustments because we're seeing that the new students versus the returning students are having some issues. I do think that as we look at the onboarding and Strong Start processes, we need to increase the amount of time that students are with advisors during those first few weeks that they're with us. We're seeing that in the first few weeks, we might do well, they're excited, but then it starts to decrease. And after they've been with us a few months, we start to see that withdrawal come in. If you look at the whole year trending, at mid-year, we kind of have an issue with the withdrawals increasing. So what's happening at that point, and what can we do to give more support to students who maybe have fallen behind at that point and are wanting to withdraw so that we can retain them? When I look at how we're doing IOL and our orientations, I think that we need to look at some ideas. Please jot this down and give me some of your ideas and some feedback on this. But I think that once a week for orientation is not enough. I think that we need daily engagement, maybe twice a day, in some form of activity with those kids as they're starting to onboard with us so that they can get that relationship built with us. There's not enough engagement that's happening, and we're seeing that open office and help sessions aren't enough. So we need to be having things like scavenger hunts to get our IOL done together. We need to be having orientations for parents, students, more. And we need to offer some evening sessions because not all parents can do it during the day. How can we increase the amount of time students are spending in onboarding and Strong Start within the first 2 weeks of school to get that engagement and understanding of our course and program to where they truly know what they're doing and we start them off strong to where they never get behind? I think if we can catch them in the beginning, we're going to see a stronger retention rate. As we look at this slide, we can see that this is where we start to notice that the returning students are happy and that we're retaining more of them, but that our new students are where we're seeing the loss. And this is where we first look at that we might have an issue with some of our onboarding processes and that our new students may need a little bit more support than what we're getting, which means that we need to really start digging into, please write this down and look into what's happening at each grade level that you support. What are the specific processes that your students are getting at each grade level when they onboard, and what can we do to improve those processes? Also, what are your student to teacher ratios at each of your grade level, and are we sharp teachers in any area? Also, do we have specific pulse check issues that you're seeing a trend in? What can we do to meet some of these needs, and when are students starting to drop off? Are you seeing a need to start calling students at a quicker pace than what we've been catching on to? So at 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, when do we need to jump on and see that we're having an issue? Please let me know any trends that you are seeing. Here are some of the trends we're seeing at elementary school that there's some issues. When you look at high school, you really see that dip mid-semester. What are we doing when those students are falling behind at mid-semester? What are we doing when they're going home over winter break and they're switching from first semester to second semester? If they're behind, what can we do to make sure they're staying engaged? And if they're already behind on the course, is there something we can do to help them catch up over winter break? When we look here at our demographics, we're seeing that students that are disengaged and haven't logged in a while, especially after 5 days, we've got to catch them, call them, work with them to be able to catch them really quick, because once they've been logged out for 5 days, we're going to really increase that amount of time that they are taking a risk at withdrawing. We're also seeing that 90% on track, like it's a really rough thing once they're not at that engagement level of 90% success and being sufficient within the course leads to withdrawing. So if they're not passing, if they're not doing well, they're going to withdraw if they're having that mindset already. So what can we do to make sure they're successful within the course? When we're looking at our academics, we have started 3 different programs to make sure that we have students with that individual learning. We have our flex program that you have to be accepted to, where you are not required to go to all of your individual CCs based on a highly engaged learning coach and passing your courses. We have lean, that your sessions are based on your individual data needs. And we have a regular course that's more traditional. These different tracks of instruction are really making a difference. And you can see that as we piloted this program, we have gotten better with those more individualized choices week over week. We want to expand this so that next year Every student has 3 choices so that they can find what fits best for them academically. We want to highlight this. I'd love some stories specifically to how your students have done in these individual tracks so that we can highlight this to our board. As always, we will highlight our commitment to our board that we will support instruction and we will grow students. One of our positives is that we have increased our enrollment by 403 students while decreasing our enrollment by 2.7%. We are also seeing that we do have a need to improve our Strong Start process and ensure that all of our students will have longevity with our program. We are looking into creating a system where our students have more support from our staff in the first few weeks that they are with us. We believe that this will create engagement, allow them to understand our school better, connect with the program, and they will have increased passing rates and growth through this interaction and connection. We believe that that will help our withdrawal rates in the long term. We also believe in increasing our choices for individual instruction options so that we can meet the needs individually of every single student that comes, because no student learns the exact same way. And the more ways that we can offer individualized instruction, the more that students will want to stay with us. Connect, connect, connect. And this is where we'll let them ask questions.